This video shows you how to import the model you have exported in AutoCAD PLANT3D into REVIT. Click the Import button. This docked tool appears. Using this toolbar, you can load the exported file, refresh the data, load mapping data, save mapping data to a different file name, generate all geometry, and generate all instances. Each item is discussed later. The level tolerance sets an elevation value that is used to determine whether to use an existing level or create a new level to associate with an instance. The filter drop-down allows you to filter displayed imported data based on each selection as shown. You can select all, mapped only, etc. The tolerances is the value you set to use when manually connecting pipes with fittings. Manual connection allows you to manually connect pipes with different fittings. Select which fitting type to use, then click Connect. Based on the type you selected, the program will ask you to pick appropriate faces on the pipes to connect. Set allows you to select the fitting family type to use. If you check Command, the Connect command behaves as if you use standard REVIT Create Instance command. Now let us load the AutoCAD PLANT3D exported model file we just generated in PLANT3D. All imported data are displayed by their main category names. Each category wraps up all entities associated with it. For example, if you click on Pipe category, all pipes are displayed as shown. Every entity is displayed by its description, type, mapped to, and the original AutoCAD drawing name. There are several options to create these entities in REVIT. You can create all entities by their category. You can also create them by selecting several items in the list. Any entity to be created as a native REVIT instance must be mapped first to a corresponding REVIT family type. The mapping data are saved automatically to a file so it can be used across the board. If this file doesn't yet exist, the program will ask you to specify its name and the full path. All mapping data are then displayed. Now you can create mapped entities as native REVIT family types. You can create a single entity or many entities at once.
Oh.
or simply create all in the category type. Or, even as mentioned earlier, you can create all imported data using the commands in the toolbar with one click. The entities that are being created now as REVIT instances are exactly the same as if you had created them using standard REVIT commands, which means you can also modify them using standard REVIT modifying commands. As you can see, all entities in the pipe category are create with one command. This can be applied to any other category type, providing all their related entities are mapped to REVIT family types. If one or more entities need not to be mapped, you can always use Create Geometry option to create a REVIT generic model instead. As will be shown later, you can also create a REVIT family type using an AutoCAD PLANTo3D imported entity geometry. There are two options to map imported entities with standard REVIT family types, one using the currently loaded families in the project file, or load from the available family libraries. The mapping data will be assigned to all entities that are similar to the one you selected. Another option is to check Apply to All to simply map all category entities to the selected REVIT family type. Here too, you can use the various creating options as shown earlier. The green color to the left of displayed entities indicates that this entity has been successfully created in REVIT. If it failed, a red color appears instead. You can use the filter drop-down to display all failed entities among other options as mentioned earlier. You can apply the same steps to create structural steel members or any other category type. These red-colored entities failed because you have not mapped them yet and you used Create Instance command. In that case, you can use Create Geometry instead if you do not wish to do the mapping. Create Geometry options as opposed to Create Instance will create the exact geometric shape, but as a generic model and not a family type-based element. You can continue to create the rest of the imported entities using the same steps. There is another option to create a native REVIT family type using the imported geometry. Select an imported entity and click Create Type. This dialog allows you to give a name and a path to this new family type. You also need to specify which REVIT template to use. Once you click Create New Type button, an RFA file is created. You can use that file as a normal REVIT family type. You can even use it to map an imported entity to it. Although it is not recommended for large model, you can simply use this button or the button next to it create the entire model using Create as Geometry or Create Instances. Remember, Create Geometry creates all entities, but Create Instances only created entities that have been previously mapped to REVIT family types. Now let us see how we can add manual connections to piping components. Thanks for watching.